For Justin Baldoni, who owned and directed It Ends With Us, to have been treated like an outsider on and off the set by Blake Lively means that the crew members had it even worse and were treated like disposable garbage by Blake in a way that the crew couldn't hide their displeasure. Blake Lively taking over the production of It Ends With Us means she also got rid of many crew members who were on board with Justin even before she joined the production. In Justin's lawsuit, he revealed the screenshots that showed how Blake subjected the editors to terrible working conditions before firing them. She did it to even many more crew members, as we also expose how they trash-talked Blake after getting to work with her. The issue with the editors started after Blake demanded that she edit the movie when filming was wrapped, even though only the director was meant to undergo this task. Eventually, the studio agreed to allow Justin and Blake to edit their own cut and decided that whoever had the higher test cut would release their version to the public. Unfortunately for Justin, his win wasn't enough to get Blake to back down. However, while making the edits during post-production, Blake started by working with Justin's editors, but eventually fired them. Then, she replaced them with the editors often used by her husband, Ryan Reynolds. In the chat receipt submitted by Justin, we got to see how it felt like hell for the crew members who worked with Blake and did everything right but still had their work repressed and effort undervalued. In the texts exchanged between Justin and the editors before they got fired, Justin asked about their schedule because Blake needed them in the editing bay. One of the editors replied, "I want Blake to feel like she's getting what she wants so we can move on from this need of hers." Interestingly, Justin clarified that Blake has been getting what she wants since production started, and getting to edit her cut is exactly what she wants. But the editor replied again to clarify what they meant, which was that Blake was gaining control over their schedules. They explained better. "I don't want to give her any opportunity to say, well, because was in LA, we could only work certain hours, so I need more time, and I didn't get what I needed," or whatever it may be. The editors and Justin continued to share how Blake turned every good moment that could have been amazing into nightmares as more text exchanges revealed this. In another set of screenshots in the lawsuit Justin filed against the New York Times, Justin told the editors they were showing Blake's cut at an event called Book Bonanza, which was meant to be their cut, but Justin got uninvited instead. The editors were shocked with one thing unbelievable and another telling Justin sorry. This team continued to thrive by supporting one another as Blake was determined to show them who held the power. One of the editors wrote to Justin saying, "I just hope you love, or at least stomach, the cut that is going out into the world." So this shows how bad it was for Blake, who never had a vision for the movie, to go ahead and edit the final cut, and how it destroyed Justin's creativity and effort he had poured in all along, which the editors could all see as well. However, Blake eventually fired the editors just like Justin was cut out, and when it came to the premiere, the editors couldn't hide their reservations for Blake, who made what would have been a smooth ride a living hell. An editor texted their team page saying, "Too late. And I talked earlier and agreed we just couldn't be in the same room with Blake. The last day to get our tickets was August 2nd. Another editor added that they would watch the premiere through Justin and love all the red carpet looks. But Justin dropped another bombshell that they won't even be in the same room because Blake had asked that he not show up at the premiere. One of the editors added that they knew this would happen, which is another reason they didn't feel great about going. Justin assured them they could show up because it would still be in different theaters where there wouldn't be a clash, and another editor responded saying, "It would be tough for me to sit and watch the final film for the first time after premiere. Just cheer for us when our names come up. Sending all love." The funny thing is that Justin didn't even get to see the film's final cut until the premiere, where she had to sit with friends and family in the basement in response to Blake's power move. Sadly enough, those weren't the only crew members Blake messed with on set while they were only trying to do their jobs. Before they got to post-production, the film crew were among the first to suffer Blake's insensitivity. While filming It Ends With Us, Blake brought some of her 4 little children to set up a booth to raise money for sick kids and horses. While this is a very adorable action, the photography crew felt pressured to part away with their cash because setting up the donation booth on the set meant Blake expected the crew to donate to the cause massively. An insider on set revealed that the action came out as tone deaf because It Ends With Us was filmed between strikes, and the workers were returning to work for the first time in months. With the writers and actors on strike at the time, the film crew barely had any job in 2023, so they were broke because they weren't getting paychecks for a long time, and they had to start dipping and spending their retirement funds. Some were behind on mortgage payments and were at significant risk of losing their homes. The insider on the set said, "There's nothing bad about having your kids be a part of your workplace or having your kids be interested in activism, but how Blake handled the situation was insulting and performative." Blake had a very high status on set and was probably #1 on the call sheet, and this made the crew feel pressured to donate because they needed to please their boss, who could fire them at any slight misunderstanding. The insider added that everyone was a little bit afraid of Blake on set, which shows she had everyone on grip with how she took control of the production. The crew saw Blake for who she is, even before the whole drama got out and escalated to where it is now. More details are spilled on how the crew viewed Blake on set, with the insider saying, "She was just so effortlessly rude, as well as entitled and lacking in self-awareness. There was tension on set whenever Blake was around because she wasn't shy about having workers wait on her." Although it was reported that there was no outward feuding or fighting between Justin and Blake on set, the crew observed Blake's attitude. They revealed that she got extraordinarily opinionated and had strong feelings about things, which led to stress and tension on set. On the other hand, Justin was drained on the set, and the insider explained how Blake's actions caused significant doubt in Justin, saying, "I got this impression from Justin that he was just really, really stressed and fatigued about this constant inability to control the project he was making, so much so that when you'd ask him questions, he'd be like, 'Well, just ask Blake.'" With all this torment on the editors, film crews, and everyday workers and assistants on set, Blake tortured even more crew members as she consistently undermined their wardrobe director. Justin explained in his lawsuit that sometimes lead actors get approval over their character's general look, and this doesn't mean complete control over wardrobe decisions without gathering inputs from the director and producers. But Blake wasn't just being rude to Justin when she took over the wardrobe. She also disrespected the costume designer, Eric Damon, a seasoned professional, by relegating him to the back seat on a job he was called to do. It also didn't matter that Blake had previously worked with Eric Damon on the Gossip Girl set. Even though Eric and his team had already shopped and crafted her looks together based on the description in the script, Blake ignored them all and sent the costume designer hundreds of photos in the hours of the evening to point them in the direction she wanted, and that wasted a lot of resources and effort in putting Blake's outfits together because the wardrobe team had to go on another shopping trip, which exceeded the project's budget. Then, Blake went into her wardrobe to get some items for her character to wear, which are very expensive and above the earnings of Lily Bloom, whom she portrays. To top it all, Blake refused to show up to fittings at the production office, which wasn't very far from her home. Instead, she made them deliver her outfits to her home after convenient, disregarding the inconvenience and disruption it must have caused for the wardrobe team to go out of their way to make her happy. Leaving the costume department, Blake also terrorized the composer on set. Justin hired an award-winning film composer who came on board and finished the score with an orchestra, but it wasn't good enough for Blake, who disregarded this professional and didn't care that they already delivered the job. Instead, she turned out all their effort and hired the composer who worked on her husband's project, Deadpool and Wolverine. Blake, who didn't feel any remorse for doing this, made a remark that said, "Yeah, the act Deadpool movie composer, my husband and I share more than children, and that's to say it doesn't matter what project she's in or who's in charge. She enjoys sharing professionals with her husband, which is bizarre, especially to other professionals who were thrown out just because they'd not worked with Ryan Reynolds." It gets a whole lot awful because one of the things that started the outbreak of lawsuits between Blake and Justin is the absence of an intimacy coordinator on the vet. Blake filed a federal lawsuit against Justin and accused him of harassment and retaliation. In the lawsuit, Blake claimed Justin improvised unwanted kissing, which is another way to say there was no intimacy coordinator on set to put this in check. Blake's lawyer wrote, for instance, Mr. Baldoni discreetly bit and sucked on Ms. Livery's lower lip during a scene in which he improvised numerous kisses on each take. Mr. Baldoni insisted on shooting the full scene repeatedly, well beyond what would have been required on an ordinary set, and without advance notice or consent. However, further proof has made it evident that Blake cherry-picked what happened to create a false narrative. Blake ignored the intimacy coordinator just like she had done with other crew members. Before filming started, Justin asked Blake to meet with the coordinator, but she disregarded that and showed no interest in working with the coordinator. When this happened, Justin reported to a female producer on set saying, just wanted to tell you about this. Seems she doesn't want to meet intimacy coordinator until we start, which may mess up the workflow, but I can still meet with her, of course. This shows that Justin took the coordinator role seriously, but Blake didn't care because she did even worse to other crew members who worked with her on set. As if that wasn't enough, Blake also underrated the professional screenwriter hired for the project, Christy Hall, by rewriting part of the script without her approval or knowledge. It was wild because Ryan rewrote the script when writers were on strike. When Blake informed Justin about changing the script but met with a bit of resistance, she threatened Justin that she's like Cody Fee, who has dragons that will fight for her. And as if that wasn't enough, she was proud to mention at the premiere that she changed the script without permission or anyone knowing, exposing how Blake treated the screenwriter and other crew members who worked with her on set.